queue on the left because the queue moves quicker than the one on the right, and there's a very nice policeman at the head of the queue. His name's Manuel, his daughter's studying English in London, and he's really, really nice, and he'll show you where to get your little ticket. Okay, D, there it is. Go to window C, because the lady at window C is very helpful and she understands English. Well, it's good, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's nice to be helped. Now, here's a list of all the papers you need, and there's a whole list, blah, 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 blah. The trouble is, you take this bit of paper and off you go to do your paperwork, and when you get there, the little bar's closed down because the only people who ever went to it are English people who are too mean to pay more than 80 cents for a cup of coffee. The lovely, nice photocopy lady, she's run off with a nice policeman. And when you find the building, well, of course, it's all closed down because now you've got to go right to the other side of the city. And when you finally get to the place that you've got to go to, you go, window C, you get to window C. Is there a woman there who's really nice and understands English? Is there? Now, there's an absolute cow. And she spits and rattles at you in Spanish and you haven't got a clue what she's saying. But you think if you stand there much longer, she's going to fine you on the spot for breathing in English. God, when you finally get back home and you go round to see the Mr. Ever so helpful, what's he doing? He's writing out his next set of instructions. How to avoid being lynched by the mugs who followed your first set of instructions. Okay, now then. Once we've gone through all of that, we eventually sort of settle down. Yeah? Do you feel sort of fairly settled now? And you get like different types of people that settle. For example, there are some people, none of them here, I have to say, but I call them Mr. and Mrs. Brain Dead. Have you met them? They spend all day sitting in front of their house, bottle of wine. They don't think, what they think is, I worked all my life, I've paid off my mortgage, I've brought up my kids, I've got my pension, I don't have to think anymore. I've moved to Spain, or at least somebody's moved me to Spain. At least I think it's Spain. Because on the bit of paper it said Bulgaria, Spain, or Brazil. And I thought, well, I'll tick the odd one out, so I think I'm in Spain. I'm not too sure, you know. And these people are really worrying. You go up to them and you say, you know that house down the road's been broken into? And they go, would you like another drink? And then you say, but some of these buildings are illegal. Your house might be illegal. Oh, that's okay, open another bottle. And then you say, but do you realise that this area is suffering from the effects of climate change, and in 20 years' time we might all be underwater? Oh, that means more sunshine. I'll drink to that. Scary? I think they're scary. Now, one of the problems as well is that if you haven't got enough to think about, which does happen, of course, you're doing a set there, you haven't got enough stimulation. And some people, what they do is they turn it in on themselves, and all they think about is their own health. And they get morose and negative and depressed, you know. Well, I heard a couple of chaps who were a bit like this the other day, and as luck would have it, I had my video camera on me. So I actually filmed this conversation because I think you might not believe me, so I thought I would film it and prove to you that I'm absolutely telling the truth. So here it is.
Makes you think though, doesn't it?
What makes you think?
You know, everything. Living in Spain makes you think.
Don't make me think.
Like, speaking Spanish. I never thought I could do it.
You can't speak Spanish.
Oh, that's what I mean. But it's difficult when you get old. Not like those young things over there. They're really young. They speak lovely Spanish.
Them there, they're from Madrid.
Ah, that explains it. I thought they looked foreign.
We haven't got anyone to speak Spanish to.
Are there any Spanish where you live then?
Well, there are, but I would never speak to them.
What about your wife Mary now? She's doing really well.
Mary? Doing well? She's all over the place. She can't concentrate on a thing. Ever since that Spanish doctor took her off her, what's it called, HGV treatment?
Mind you, the doctors over here are much stricter about medicine. They don't let it take so much like they do at home.
I know. It's like Mary. She had a hip replacement. No anaesthetic at all.
Really?
Yep. Surgeons just sang Viva España as loud as they could to drown out the noise of the sawing.
Oh, I don't think I'd like that.
But they could hear in some ways. The other day I banged my head. Wife took me to the emergency department. They gave me a blood test, a body scan, and a brain test.
A brain test?
Yeah, and they found the problem.
Really?
Yeah, they said I was too stupid to look where I was going.
I don't know about going to a Spanish doctor. I'm a special case, you know.
What's that?
Yeah, I need me medication. I go back home to get it every 2 weeks. I wouldn't want anyone fiddling with it. I have to get the balance just right.
What you on then?
I have some pills to thin me blood, and then if it gets too thin, I have this to thicken it up a bit. Then I take pills to lower my blood pressure, and this to get it going if it's a bit slow.
That's heart failure.
Exactly. And I take some tablets to keep me breathing steady, and this if my heart stops completely. I'm like a finely tuned machine. I'm under my family GP at home. He's been our family doctor for 50 years. Unfortunately, he died 10 years ago. But he's still issuing repeat prescriptions from beyond the grave.
There's a lot of people dying these days.
Yeah, I know. Take that neighbour of mine the other day. Nothing wrong with him. Active as anything. Only 92. Always jogging. Always helping people. Always doing things around the house and whistling a happy tune. Wonderful man he was.
What happened?
He told his wife he weren't feeling well. Next thing you know, he'd gone. Flat out on the bathroom floor, just like that.
That's terrible.
I know. His wife didn't think anything of it for a day or two. Thought he was just taking his time grounding floor tiles. He said it were a mosquito that did it though.
Really? Are they that dangerous?
Well, the trouble was there wasn't time to do a post-mortem.
Well, no, a post is very slow, you know.
I mean, they do get rid of you too quick round here, you know. 1 minute you're walking around, next minute you're a pile of ashes. Better than being buried though. You know, they'll only let you rake your bit of grave for 5 years. After that, they dig you up and they put you in a bone box.
It would save a bit of money though.
How's that?
Well, if you're cremated, your wife puts your ashes in an urn and takes you back to England, she'd have to pay excess baggage.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that. I applied to have my body donated to science, you know. Apparently they need dead bodies to investigate in Alicante University. I thought, you know, they might find an interesting subject of study.
I've heard about that. Would be a way of saving on funeral expenses.
Well, that is true. In the end, I didn't do it. I didn't like to think of myself being chopped up by all those foreigners. Anyway, I don't think my Spanish were good enough.
Mind you, there aren't so many birthdays around here either.
What do you mean?
Well, we've been to our local Chinese restaurant 3 times recently. Not one happy birthday song. There used to be 2 or 3 a night.
You know, I never thought about it before, but I think you're right. You know, they are extending the cemetery again.
There you are, you see. It's to cater for the extra demand. The Spanish are very morose in that way.
What do you mean?
You know, depressed. They seem to be obsessed with health and death. I think it's to do with their religion.
Probably.
I think it's something we British can give to the Spanish.
What's that?
I think we can cheer them up with our positive outlook on life.
Admit it, you've heard that conversation, haven't you? Well, those people are kind of a bit negative and a bit scary, and a bit miserable too. But there are other people I find actually rather disturbing, but they're quite cheerful and friendly. I haven't got a proper name for them. I tend to call them Mr. and Mrs. too decrepit to be let loose on the public. Have you met them? Now, they come up to me sometimes, because they know that I kind of, people always come up and ask me questions and stuff, and I get these, but they're ever so sweet, they're lovely people, and they say, Jane, excuse me, I'm sorry to disturb you, I know you're busy, I'm ever so sorry to bother you, but I wonder if you could just write something down for me on a piece of paper. So I say, yeah, of course, what would you like me to write down? They say, can you write down, I need a triple heart bypass operation? And I say, yeah? And so because my doctor back home, he said I had to have a triple heart bypass operation, otherwise I would be dead in 6 months. So I say, oh, how long ago was that? And he goes, well, I don't know, love, how long ago was it? Well, it was after our Shirley got married, and it was before our grandson. Must have been about 4.5, 5 months ago. So I said, okay, well, and then they said, don't they do? Because he said, I went to the doctor and asked him, and he didn't seem to understand, don't they do them here? I said, well, I think they do, but I'll write it down for you. Would you like me to write on the bit of paper, otherwise I will be dead in a month? Oh, no, dear, no, I don't want to disturb you. No, you're very busy. No, thank you ever so much. That'll do, thank you. Now, there's a little bit of paper, dear. Where shall we put it? I tell you what, we'll put it in my pocket. Won't put it in your handbag, because she keeps getting a handbag still. And off they go. And I think, oh, my God. Now then, this is a solemn word of warning. If ever you think that you might be getting to that stage, remember, you have to go to a notary and make a will, and I am a very helpful person, and I can write down my name for you on a piece of paper. Well, we've settled, we've been here a while, and you look at some of the people around you, and some of them you say, yeah, I can understand why that person lives in Spain. And other people, you think, I cannot understand why that person's here. For example, the moaning git. I mean, what's he doing here? Why is he here? You met him, you know him, don't you? He hates Spain, basically. He hates it. He hates the Spanish, he thinks they're backward, they're underdeveloped, this would never happen in the UK, that would never happen in the UK. You feel like someone, why don't you bloody go back to the UK? That's a problem. Oh, God, I don't know. And then he thinks that, you know, he says things like, if it wasn't for us, so the Spanish would be still living in caves, and they're still digging up the soil with their bare hands, and they'd still be riding around on donkeys. We're the ones that have given them everything they've got. And are they grateful? No, they're not. They could still learn a lot from us, you know. They could learn manners. They could learn how to eat properly, how to dress properly, how to behave in public, and most of all, they could learn how to be tolerant of foreigners. I feel that some of you have met this person. I just get these vibes, you know, sort of. Well, we're nearly at an end, I'm afraid. We're nearly finished. I know, it is a shame, isn't it? But there's one more character and person, or people, that we need to talk about, because we kind of lost track of them along the way. Bert and Mildred. What happened to Bert and Mildred? I hear you ask. Well, they went and bought a finca. They weren't too, They weren't too happy in that first house. They had a bit of trouble with the neighbours. They didn't want to go into details. I didn't like to ask them. So yeah, they bought a finca. It was 50 kilometres inland. It had been abandoned by a Spanish farming family in 1974. When they got there, there was a bit of fence, a bit of grass, and a goat. They didn't really settle in very well. It wasn't really them, you know. In the end, the only mystery was how the Spanish farming family had managed to stay there till 1974. So eventually, they came back to the coast, and they're here now. They're around. Actually, they started to oh, really? Yeah, they might be here tonight. Actually, they've been learning Spanish. They've been doing quite well. Mildred has got to the point where she stopped ordering a dick from the butcher. Much to the relief of the butcher, it has to be said. Some people understood that, some people didn't. I'm not going to explain it to them. And Bert, he's say it properly, Bert, he's learned to roll his R's, which does help with the flatulence. More people got that one than the other one. Well, anyway, I have to tell you though that Bert and Mildred, they've been here quite a while now, and they've been through various ups and downs and ins and outs and various sort of problems, and they did go through a very sticky patch because they tried to be very Spanish, but it didn't quite work, which only goes to prove that anything, even really good things, can sometimes go wrong if you take them too far. We always have to have a balance in life, don't we? So, the last thing I'm going to tell you about, in fact, I'm going to sing you a little song about what happened to Mildred and Bert. But we're not going to blame all this on Danny this time. Because, at the end of the day, he's an innocent victim like the rest of us. Well, I wanted some reaction to that statement. You know, an R or, clap, something. Oh, well, that'll do. He's had too much sympathy tonight, if you ask me. Right, here we go. This is what happened to Mildred and Bert when they tried to be very Spanish. Mildred and Bert were awful looking people, but I can tell you people, they were the devil's children. Mildred and Bert, all English ways to banish, and to be very Spanish was their only aim. They bought a car and jumped lights all the way home. They parked it in front of their neighbour's drive and waited till the heat died down. Mildred and Bert advanced their reputation and made the graduation into the shopping business. Como estas? Sweet talking Bert would holler, while Mildred stuffed her shoulder bag with octopus. Now one brave man, he made them a cup of tea, then left him lying in a pool of milk, and walked away as cool as can be. Mildred and Bert, they became public enemy number one, running and hiding from everyone who spoke their native tongue. They never used to like dancing, but deep inside them they knew that pretty soon they'd be prancing around the room together, clicking their fingers and stamping their feet till the morning sun. Acting upon reliable information, a neighbour's delegation set up a deadly ambush as Mildred and Bert came walking in the sunshine. Half a dozen banners opened up on them. They lived a lot together, and finally together they survived. Should we do one more? If we do one more song, will you sing along and clap and pretend you're having a good time? Yeah.
We'll make it easy for you. We'll put the words up on the screen. We'll sing that song that we did first of all, shall we? Blue Skies? Yeah, let's do that. Come on then.
You're going to get the words. You're going to get the words.
Karaoke style.
I can hear you singing. Blue skies are in the brochure. That nice young man said it was all kosher. Let's get the plane and pick up the keys. Dream a Spanish dream with me. That's our house with a crane in. The builders are still putting the train in. It's not the shape I thought it would be. Dream a Spanish dream with me. Camping in a one-bedroom flat, dear. We'll move soon, don't fear. The builder said it would be June, dear. I'm not sure what year. It's all about location. Our house looks onto the petrol station, and from the roof 2 inches of sea. Dream a Spanish dream with me. We've moved in, but what's our address, dear? No papers, no sign. No point in us asking the builder. He's doing time. Sweet dreams would be a phone line. Sweet dreams would be a postman to call mine. But if you think I'm giving up